Hello and welcome to Uzreport World News, and my name is Bahram Gaffarov. Uzbekistan was named the world's sixth largest cotton producer, according to a report compiled by Market Research Resource. Once fourth largest cotton exporter in the world, Uzbekistan has been losing its position in the list of top exporters over the years as the country's president Shavkat Mirziyoyev urged focusing more on cultivating fruits and vegetables.
The report says that India, China, Pakistan, and United States are major producers of cotton worldwide. Asian countries dominate the cotton production, as well as they are also one of the biggest consumers of cotton. China, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh are the largest cotton consumers around the world, accounting for one of the highest global consumption. Top 10 consumers also include Turkey, Vietnam, and Uzbekistan. The global cotton market is expected to reach $46.5 billion by 2027, according to analysts.
The Uzbek government is intending to export about 6.2 thousand items of goods to the European Union duty-free by gaining access to GSP Plus system by the end of March, according to the country's foreign ministry. Uzbekistan so far uses the basic GSP system, which allows it to supply 3,000 commodity items to the European Union without customs duties and 3.2 thousand items at reduced rates. Kazakhstan's Aktau, an urban city of Uzbekistan, will soon be connected with FLIGHT, Civil Aviation Committee of Kazakhstan reports. The flights will be operating 2 times a week by Boeing 737 aircraft on Mondays and Wednesdays. SCAT is a private Kazakh airline established in 1997. Today, the company's aircraft fleet consists of more than 60 Western-made aircraft, with more than 80 domestic and international air routes operating. USA is planning to provide Caracal, Pakistan with 40 food containers of health items totaling $3 million. This was announced during the talks between Ambassador of Uzbekistan to the United States, Javlan Vahabov, and the director of American organization Project Cure for work with international governments, Melissa Esposti.
The cargo also includes electrohydraulic operating tables, hemodialysis machines, ultrasound equipment, and other medical and laboratory devices. The representative of the charity organization also said that in accordance with the application submitted by the Ministry of Health of Karacal, Pakistan, Project CURE has started to complete the first part of the humanitarian cargo to be sent to the RLC region.
The Kazakh vaccine Khazkovid will soon be produced on the base of one of the pharmaceutical enterprises in Uzbekistan, as the head of the Ministry of Health of Kazakhstan proposed. We propose to intensify partnership in the fight against the epidemic to create effective interaction in terms of prompt response to such situations, as well as to establish a constant exchange of information on the current epidemiological situation and ongoing measures to stabilize it, said the Ministry of Health of Kazakhstan Alexei Tsoy during negotiations with the head of Ministry of Health of Uzbekistan Abdulhakim Hajibayev. The Uzbek government and the UN Multi-Partner Trust Fund Office in New York inked a standard administrative agreement on a contribution of $6.5 million to the UN Multi-Partner Human Security Trust Fund for the Aral region in Uzbekistan to be transferred in 4 tranches from 2019 to 2022. According to MPTF office in New York, the government of Republic of Uzbekistan made its 3rd tranche in the amount of $1.5 million to the MPHSTF under Standard Administrative Agreement. This, as well as previous contributions from the government of Norway, Finland, the European Union, and the Republic of Korea, will be used to finance development programs in the Aral Sea region. On March 5, Georgia lifted air borders for citizens of Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Since February 1st, Georgia has completely lifted the ban on regular flights that had been in effect since March 2020, reporting an improvement in epidemiological situation. However, land and sea borders remain closed to all tourists. Passengers arriving in the country on flight must present at the doors of certificate of negative PCR test carried out 72 hours before the trip. On the 3rd day of their stay in Georgia, they must undergo another test at their own expense. So far, Uzbekistan has banned the import of 876 types of products recognized as low quality and dangerous in the EU countries. The list includes 77 types of electrical equipment, 26 types of lighting devices, 35 items for childcare, 175 types of toys, 24 types of jewelry, 43 types of cosmetics. To protect the domestic market and inform consumers, the US Standard Agency has developed an electronic portal, control.standard.us.
After nearly 11 hours, Senate clerks early Friday finished reading every word of President Joe Biden's 628-page COVID relief bill out loud. On Friday, senators began debating the $1.9 trillion aid package, rejecting an amendment to more than double the federal minimum wage over 5 years, from $7.25 an hour to $15, a proposal offered up by Senator Bernie Sanders.
And when the senator says, well, why are we spending all of this money? The answer is because we are living in the most difficult moment in the modern history of this country, and arguably even a more difficult moment than the Great Depression of the 1930s.
That measure fell far short of the 60 votes needed and was the first in what is expected to be a lengthy series of amendments on the bill that could extend into the weekend. According to a Democratic congressional aide, liberal and moderate Democrats did strike a deal to offer an amendment that would scale back federal unemployment benefits in the COVID bill to $300 per week, down from the proposed $400, a compromise made to extend coverage. Meanwhile, Republicans have not been shy about their opposition to Biden's $1.9 trillion aid package. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has called the legislation, quote, a poorly targeted rush job.
We're about to watch one party ram through a partisan package on the thinnest of margins. Our country is already set for a roaring recovery. We are already on track to bounce back from this crisis.
The relief legislation includes funding for vaccines and medical supplies, extends jobless assistance, and provides a new round of emergency financial aid to households, small businesses, and state and local governments. Opinion polls indicate broad public support. If the Senate approves the bill, it will have to be sent back to the Democratic-controlled House for final passage. Democrats hope Biden can sign the bill into law before March 14th, when some of the current benefits run out. With no votes to spare, Senate Democrats have tweaked the measure to ensure all 50 of their members would support it, which would then allow Vice President Kamala Harris to cast the deciding vote if no Republicans support it.
U.S. officials detained nearly 100,000 migrants at the border with Mexico in February, according to two people familiar with preliminary figures, the highest monthly total since mid-2019. The previously unreported figures show the scope of a migrant influx, which has only grown since U.S. President Joe Biden took office and sought to roll back some of predecessor Donald Trump's restrictive policies. The nearly 100,000 migrants detained appears to be the highest monthly number since June 2019, during a large border surge which Trump cited as justification for a broad immigration crackdown. And an increasing number of children arriving at the border without a parent or legal guardian has forced U.S. officials to scramble for housing options in recent weeks and try speeding up their release to U.S. sponsors. Republicans have criticized Biden for rolling back Trump's hardline immigration policies, claiming that will lead to more illegal immigration. One of those Trump-era measures is Title 42, which was issued during the global health crisis, allowing U.S. authorities to rapidly expel migrants caught crossing the border illegally. Under that policy, the number of migrants attempting to illegally cross the border again has actually increased over the past year, with some making another attempt after being caught. Biden exempted unaccompanied children from Title 42 in February. Cinemas in New York reopened on Friday to great fanfare after closing for almost a year due to the global health crisis. Each movie theater can allow no more than 50 people per screen, following guidelines released by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo last month. Moviegoers have to wear masks and obey social distancing rules and are encouraged to wipe seats down and sanitize their hands. But that didn't stop excited residents from returning.
I'm excited. I decided to not work today, and I just came to the theater. As soon as I read that movie theaters were open, I got a ticket literally 10 minutes later.
AMC Entertainment said it reopened all 13 of its theaters in New York, while its rival Cinemark did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Theater operators have struggled with the year-long closure as major studios have moved to release their movies on online streaming platforms. Warner Brothers rolled out iconic cartoon Tom and Jerry on HBO Max last week, while Disney's new animated film, Raya and the Last Dragon, became the latest addition to its streaming platform Disney Plus on Friday.
Like the best dragon.
A powerful rally to end the week on Wall Street after a big three-day slump unraveled investor confidence. By the time the closing bell rang on Friday, the Dow surged 572 points, the S&P 500 jumped 73, the Nasdaq rallied 196. It's been a tough time for tech stocks, though. The Nasdaq was down for the third straight week. A hefty rebound in employment fueled hopes of better economic days ahead. Employers added a much better than expected 379,000 new jobs in February. The lion's share of the hiring came from restaurants and bars, which accounted for 75% of all the job gains in February. Hiring was up across the board for entertainment, leisure, and recreation industries as well. The unemployment rate dropped to 6.2%. But even with February's hiring surge, the economy still has to recover 10.5 million jobs lost since the health crisis hit last year. Nevertheless, investors should feel good about the economic outlook and the stock market, says Jerry Brockman, Chief Investment Officer at First American Trust.
I think when you look, 2 to 3 quarters ahead at the rate where we're vaccinating folks by 1 million to 1.5 million a day, we have 300-some million folks in the U.S. In 200 to 300 days, we will be able to vaccinate all the people in the U.S., and that is a game changer. So when you look back between that and another 1.9 trillion or somewhere around there of additional stimulus that hits people's checking accounts, I think that creates a great setup.
Economic hopes also pushed interest rates higher. The yield on the U.S. government benchmark 10-year note jumped to its highest in over a year. Rising interest rates are likely to make it more costly for high-growth companies like Tesla to do business. The electric car maker was left out of Friday's rally, capping what was a terrible week in which the stock dropped 11%.
So far, these have been the latest news for today. Goodbye. Take care.